Okay, hello everyone. I am going live today just for a brief period of time. One moment, I've got a couple things that are a little questionable here. Okay, we're going to see if that works. I've been trying a new software that's going to give us, I think, a better quality experience, but I still have to get a lot of things set up and learn it. But for now, we're just going to give it a test. I'm only going to be able to go live here for maybe an hour, and then I'll need to break for lunch, and then excuse me. And then I'll need to start to wrap gifts. It's Christmas Eve, everyone. Tomorrow is Christmas Day, and I have a lot of gifts to wrap. And the painting that I've been working on is actually a gift for Christmas. So got a very small window of time to finish it, and then I can deliver it to my important client. So I've been working on this painting a little off stream, and I think it looks really good. We're almost there. I wanted to stream the entire process, but yesterday it was a little tricky because a certain someone was home, and I just didn't have the amount of time to completely devote to it while streaming it. So I just painted here in my studio with the door closed. But right now, I want to bring you along with me while we finish the painting. And excuse me. And if everything works out well, once gifts are wrapped and everything, I might go live a little later on, late afternoon, before my wife and I leave to go to an appointment. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump in. This is the painting, obviously. I've gotten a good bit of ground on it since you had last seen it. Zoom in here a little bit so you can see some. Yeah, pretty much done. Pretty much done. I just need to do a few more things. So let's dive in. As you can see, I've got some wet paint on my palette here because I've already been working and a little bit today, but we're at the point now where it's time to kind of wrap some things up. So we're going to use what we've got and start to consider this thing done and dusted. The things that are bothering me right now are there's some white on these areas, these paws, that I want to bring out and make a little bit more opaque. And then the rug, like the shadow area here, I want to kind of define a little bit more. And then as I lean back and squint, some of this feels a little too similar to the ears, so I might adjust some of that. Nothing crazy, but that's where we are. So let's jump in. I'm going to save the white till last in case I have to clean up anything. Again, we've got our Kolinsky sable brushes, which have been a real workhorse of this entire painting, mostly. And my medium that I'm using with, that I'm using now is a mixture of the old Ralph Meyer medium. If anyone out there is an oil painter, over a period of time, you've done this a while, you may have this oil painting book. Well, actually, it's not just oil paintings, artwork in general. It's called The Artist's Handbook by Ralph Meyer, but there's a lot of very useful, helpful information in it about oil painting and oil painting mixtures. And one of the media mixtures that Ralph Meyer has listed in this book has become known as kind of a tried and true oil painting medium by a lot of people. So you might hear it discussed at times if you are an oil painter or you know someone that is. The medium is 1 part stand oil, 1 part Damar varnish, and 1 part distilled turpentine. So it's 3 parts, 3 equal parts. And it's a wonderful glazing medium. I found that you can almost use it at any point of a painting, but I enjoy using it towards the end of a painting. However, just be mindful because there is solvent in it. Typically, would not be using solvent towards the end. That would just be a layer that would be exclusively medium, like linseed oil or something like that. However, the distilled turpentine is there because of the Damar varnish. See, if you are a painter and you use solvent, say you're like typically someone that likes OMS, use Gamsol, something like that. Well, OMS, your traditional OMS like Gamsol, does not dissolve this Damar crystals. Only turpentine can dissolve that. So if you ever see a mixture oil painting recipe that has Damar in it, you're going to want to use turpentine. No OMS, no Gamsol. But for those of you that are out there, I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you are celebrating Christmas, I hope that you have all of your gifts wrapped and ready to be delivered. And if not, I hope the wrapping process goes smoothly. That for us all, because I'm going to have to start wrapping soon. And even though I don't mind it, sometimes it just takes a lot longer than I realize. and set up our music. Oh boy. Trying this new software for streaming because it will give me a lot more options and flexibility. And once I get it set up properly, it's gonna look really professional, attractive, and that's something I want. I want to really take up um, the appearance of what we're trying to do here. Make it look really professional. So testing it out. Obviously, I've got a lot to set up with it, but I'm going to try to give myself a little time this holiday break to tinker with it. Right now, I thought I would, since I can only go live for a little bit, I thought I would just say, you know what, it is what it is. We're going to enjoy it for what it is. And this painting will be delivered tomorrow. And after tomorrow, then we can spend a little bit of time set up the way we want it. Paint's still pretty wet in this area that I'm working. You can kind of see it's starting to pull off a little bit of the paint. That's a risk you have when you're working wet and wet, obviously. You have to be careful because the brushes that you choose can help that or make it worse. If you're working wet in the wet, if you're using something that's more of a bristle, like a bristle brush, it can lift off wet paint. And definitely don't want that after all that we've worked on. And I want this to kind of, this has a texture clearly because this is a textile. Excuse me, and there's a shadow. I'm going to try not to make that too soft. I'm trying not to spend too much time on it. Like, it's obviously not the focus of everything, but it has to blend in somewhat. So anyway, instead of using these bristle brushes like I've been discussing, I've been using these soft hair brushes. These are again Kolinsky Sables. Rounds have been primarily what I've been using, but I'm considering this filbert for this last. Bit. You know what? I'm not going to use that. Actually, I'm going to use number 6. I'm going to use a synthetic. No, I'm not. It's all about the brush you use. I'm going to use a sable flat, quite often called a bright. It has a short hair to it. As you can see, it's not very long. These brushes are quite often called brights, is the shape. This is a sable, very soft. But I just want to be able to get the shape that is important and be able to get in to these areas. I'm not worrying too much about the color of the paint. where I'm working. Obviously, I'm kind of trying to paint it like it's a little bit out of focus. This rug. It's got a lot of sort of a pinkish color, magenta color, but there's also some warmth. So putting some transparent yellow oxide in it. And I'm going to actually put some of this unbleached titanium. Um, yeah, and that's nice. And as you can see, it's not really lifting off. Kind of cleaning up the areas around my subjects at this point. the the rug is essentially running like this, like the angle of my brush. Um, because of the perspective, the plane that they're laying on. So I'm trying to be a little conscious of that with some of the marks I'm making, obviously with the shadow that I painted in. Like if I start painting like this in that area, leaving my brush strokes in a vertical way, it's actually going to flatten that area out um, visually. I'm trying to be careful of that. And what I'll end up doing is getting my fan brush and softening this as well. Okay, well, if anyone is still there, I'm really sorry, but my Wi-Fi just blinked out for a few moments, so I had to correct that. Anyway, very frustrating. So let me get back to work here. So to talk it out a little bit more, so before the stream had gone out, I was mentioning how I was actually using a cooler pink in this area behind to kind of push this back. Warm colors move forward, cool colors move back. So using that little trick to create an illusion of depth here, which is wonderful. And this brush shape, the bright brush shape, really helps because it's got that very crisp edge with the short brushes, which allows me to get close and have control. And since it's nice and flat, I can put in the planes of this rug beautifully. I'll need to get something a little shorter to get into this area here, however. Let me see if I can play our music again. Yeah, because that went out. Lovely. Very frustrating. I need to figure out the our connection issues. Yeah, it's amazing that trick. Like you can just see this little area around this ear where I've left that pink, and it definitely like feels like this illusion of space. Now that's a soft area, so I don't want to get that edge to be too crisp. So just kind of moving up close to it, but also using my brush to soften into it a little. I'm going to do the same with her fur as we move along there. All right, before I get ahead of myself, that's a dark brush. All right, one moment. Get another brush so I can get into some of these areas here behind this ear. For a little more control, I'm going to get my ball stick. Cut in a little sharp there. So grab our kneaded eraser and I cut back a little bit. The kneaded eraser is great. I can kind of get a blurred edge when using it. Now, this becomes, again, I've shown you before, part of the trick about being able to use the magnets on the setup to be able to flip it so I can get the angle that I need. Never gets old to me. I love that I can do that with this product. Kind of get around the back part of this fur here. Using the brush to kind of blur that edge. For all of you painters out there, it's always a great idea to be able to soften your edges when possible. Makes things feel less like a cutout, like a copy and paste. Unless it's actually a hard edge of something in front of something else. That's when you can use that edge to your advantage. But these are soft areas, obviously, with fur. You know, it's soft. I want it to be a softer edge. But for the rest of you, anyone out there that's listening, if you're a painter, say you're painting portrait or anything like that, you're going to have these moments whenever you're wanting to soften an edge to make your client's face look a little bit more out of focus in areas, or a hand. It makes it a much more of an interesting color. I see that some of our, I haven't looked at our settings. It's like some of them had reset. So give me a moment here. There. See if I can get that a little bit brighter so you all can see some while I'm finishing up this area. Flip it back into proper orientation here in a second. Starting to get a little lost in places, which is nice. Once we finish this, which I'm feeling pretty good about, I just want to hit the whites in these areas as we've discussed. And I want to add a little bit of, not even information back here, just maybe another color, because this is kind of close to this, which I don't like so much. So I want to lighten it and make it cooler so it falls away more, which is going to be, pretty easy for us to do. All right, I need a smaller brush. We can get this area here. Again, for those of you that are there watching, if that previous stream is still up, I might go to my channel and delete that, because obviously, I want to look professional, and that might not look very professional. But I was getting a few error messages prior to it going down from YouTube saying that the bit rate was really low and it was reducing the quality. So there was some issue happening. I'm not sure how things look now, but if things are looking really bad, audio's bad, anything, please let me know so I can tweak things on my end. Once the stream is down, I'll obviously look at things and see how things look and sound and work on making them better. But I wanted to share the last of this session with you all before it all is delivered. And what I'm going to do now, actually, because that's starting to feel like two separate colored areas, is I'm going to actually go back and use that warm pink color and go in and kind of hit a little bit. Before, it was just a little too much of a contrast. Now I'm just going to add just a little bit to make that feel kind of like a gradient. Okay, cool. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so I'm going to wait on the white of those areas towards the end. Let's get up in here now. Let me wipe this brush off. Okay, now this color I'm going to use in the background is going to be a lot of yellow ochre, and unbleached titanium is going to be a lot of what I'm going to use to mix that up with some olive green, and our yellow ochre was pretty much dry and pretty much gone. And so is our transparent yellow oxide. I thought about maybe trying that with the unbleached titanium. But what I'm going to do is just go ahead and kind of clean those off. Let me go grab those tubes. Got a cabinet over here behind me with those paints, so let me grab that. And get back. All right. This is yellow ochre by Rublev. Truly is my favorite yellow ochre. This is a great color. And since I went ahead and grabbed it, I'm going to put a little transparent yellow oxide out. It's possible that the transparent yellow oxide may be all I need for the unbleached titanium. But let's go ahead and put that out there. I want to cool that down to get a little bit more in the green family. And I think the best way to do that is to add some of this King's Blue Light. Pretty neutralizing color, but since I'm adding a little bit of the blue to that slightly yellow mixture, it definitely is going to green it up nicely. And as you can see, that right there is pretty close to the light color of that. Actually, this light color I want to be a lot bluer than that, but you can see how that got us into the family that we're already working in. King's Blue Light, I use transparent yellow oxide, and unbleached titanium. I typically mix my browns, my earth colors. If you use a lot of browns, raw embers, burnt siennas, things like that, I've noticed that they do contribute to your paint sinking in. And for you all that are oil painters out there, you might know of this phenomenon that you often hear of called, oh, my painting has sunk in, and you might hear about that. And that's whenever it becomes very dull and matte as it dries, as the oil kind of gets wicked into the surface of previous layers. And I've noticed using paint that's more rich and those sort of iron oxides and things that make the earth colors, they're more thirsty for oil, and they dry differently. They dry quicker, they dry slower, or whatever. They just soak it all in, and I dislike how that happens. So whenever possible, I mix my own brown colors, my own earth colors, through the use of these transparent red oxides, transparent yellow oxides. And I've noticed that there is a huge difference in the work sinking in, from sinking in. All right. I think we're kind of in the family. And what I did is I just went ahead and mixed sort of a band here. I know you can't quite see it. Let's see. Anyway, I thought I could move that in the software, but I'm not able to at this time. So I've mixed a little bit of this up, and I'm going to apply it up here. Some of our glazing medium. That's exactly what I want. Something a little lighter, a little cooler than was there. And as I've said to you all before in stream, whenever you're more organized on your palette and more direct, it becomes more efficient. You can mix up your color on the palette, and you know exactly what you're going to get. A lot of artists will mix their paint up on the canvas, and you're always kind of trying to find the color you want in doing so, and you run the risk of your colors getting really muddy. I'll spin this around so I can get my brush a little bit closer to that edge. And I think what I'm going to do is in the source image that I'm using, my reference image, that reflection on this floor in the background is actually like pretty blue. I think I'm really going to play that up whenever I finish laying in this color. His fur, back of his head right here, is actually kind of a bit sharper than I want. I'm going to try to glaze into it with this background color a little bit to soften that edge, make it a little lost, which actually works really nicely. Hey, thanks for the thumbs up. Sorry if I missed you. We've moved on. Talking to me? Don't you come in here. Yeah, it's 12:20, like 10 minutes. But yeah, I'll be there in like 10 minutes. But yeah, I'm hungry. It's looking really good, I think. And this blue here that I'm talking about, here my hand didn't show up in stream. That looks pretty good. That's pretty close to what I want. But I want to give it a little bit more punch. There we go. Not much, not much. So just to clean up the brush a little bit so I don't muddy it much in that area. Okay, now that's literally, I'm gonna keep it simple. I try to keep it simple when mixing color. Try to like break it down to like 3 colors max. You know, sometimes you might look at something that you're trying to paint and you're like, well, add a little of this, a little of that, a little of that, a little of that, a little of that, and eventually you get it like really close and accurate. But sometimes by doing all the mixing, the colors get so muddy that it just doesn't look right. So I try to make things as accurate as possible by using as little as possible. So I find often like a 3-color mixture is about the best way to go. You know, recognize what's going to get you there, and then like see what's lacking. You might say, okay, it's too warm, it's too cool, it's too blue, whatever, and then neutralize it in whatever way you need to from there. Soften that edge. Then use the brush to your advantage, kind of ending on an angle there. So just tilt the brush at an angle. Actually, a little bit of a reflection here. I'm going to hit that just to add a little balance. Notice that feels so much nicer here, just putting that in. I'm not going to like get too too obsessed with that, just a little. I mean, that right there made a huge difference. Working wet and wet to soften that. And I think I'm going to pull that over actually. It's all cool color at this point, so it's just receding. Okay, great. Let's wrap it up. I'm not using that. Rinsing off the brushes. This area here is a little sharp to me now that I see it. So I still have that mixture from before. What I'm going to do is just kind of use that in with this. I need to bring the camera out so you can see my palette better, so you can see what I'm talking about with color. But anyway, I'm going to use it to soften this edge. This edge, not only is it soft in reality, but that is behind many things. Like that is a kind of a background edge. So by blurring it, softening it, push it back. It needs to be less important. And that's much, much better. Better. Actually, gotta get it just a little bit more. Much better though. Okay, now let's finish this up with those other areas I mentioned. I'm finished with this sable brush. Go ahead and rinsing it. Finish with this brush. Go ahead and rinse it. All about brush care, maintenance. I'll use this for that last part. Okay, it's literally white, but the white that we've been using mostly in this painting has been the Michael Harding warm white. Once we transitioned away from lead white in our earlier phase, so I'm just going to use that in these brighter areas that are maybe more in the foreground. Some of this paint that I'm going on top of is still a little wet. That's why it's not as bright as you may think it is as I'm hitting it with the white. Because it is blending in with what's below. But that's exactly what I want here. this Master Series brush by Rosemary. It's kind of like a bristle brush. A lot of the brush hairs on it are a little coarse, not as uniform as the table brush I was using. It's perfect for this application. I can load it up with paint and apply it, and it actually can give a broken mark, which is really good. Except for areas where I don't want a broken mark, like a little stray mark that I got just there. But here with this rug, this color that I moved here, used here, fix that area. And I want to add a little bit of a shadow on that if I can. Brush isn't the right brush for that. Go back to our sable, which I thought we were finished with. Need a little more control, so get the mole stick. Okay. Rinsing off some brushes here while I look at a little more. There's always more you can do to a painting, but you have to let it go sometimes. Because you want to make a good work of art best you can, but you're never ever going to get it perfection. A puzzle, you know. You're just wanting to solve it to the best of your ability, and then the next painting you try to do a little bit better, a little bit more. Anyway, I think we're finished, everyone. So those of you that were here, I thank you, but I also apologize because we did have some technical difficulties and something happened with the Wi-Fi and we completely lost our stream. But we were able to come back. So thank you, and the painting looks really good. I hope you enjoy it. I am probably going to leave this video up a little bit longer in case people are watching this, but I might take it down at some point. But I have a lot to correct in this setup. I like what it's doing, but I need to investigate a few things. In the meantime, if you all see something that can be improved upon, please send me a message. You can leave it in the comments of this video. Also, you can send me a message on Instagram. Chris Clamp Art is my handle, so please check that out and send me a message. But I think the painting looks pretty good. I'm excited to see what a certain someone thinks about it. Anyway, I appreciate all of you. Thank you very, very much. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do it. Please do so, and stay tuned with what's coming up next. I should be able to be doing more of this very soon. I have some big ideas, and I'd love to share those with you. So thank you all very much. Have a lovely holiday. If I'm not able to come back on and stream later today, have a great holiday, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.